I'm Zach Foster, Senior Content Creator for the Libertarian Party of Nevada, coming to you live from the LAX Hilton at the California Libertarian Convention. I am here with Governor Gary Johnson. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Zach.
All right, we've got some readers for our presidential candidates from different Libertarian Party members. So first question, why are you running for president?
Well, at the end of the day, I think that I would actually make a good president, or I wouldn't be doing this. And at the end of the day, regardless of how it turns out, I think I will have provided a voice of reason in all this. And so on my deathbed, I'm going to reflect back on my own life. Did I live my life to the fullest? And doing this, I think that that's part of it.
Next question, will you deport illegal immigrants and enforce laws against businesses that hire them?
Well, first of all, no, I would not deport illegal immigrants, but there needs to be a process by which work visas can be obtained by illegal immigrants, and as long as they don't have any outstanding, as long as they haven't committed crime in the United States, they would receive that, be allowed to stay. And then with regard to businesses, I think that is the absolute wrong tack to take. Something that's not being understood right now is that businesses are required to take a certain number of documentations, A, B, C, and D, to be able to hire someone from outside the country. So the fact that they get presented with false documentation, I think if you shift that burden of proof to employers, that you're going to end up criminalizing a lot of employers that are in fact complying with the law or rules as they currently exist.
Assuming Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders do not win their party's nomination, how will you help their supporters see the libertarian philosophy in a better light?
Well, I think that that's the opportunity that exists right now. The opportunity that exists right now is that I think most people in this country are libertarian. They just don't know it. And I do believe that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, and I do believe that Hillary is going to be the nominee. And I think these are the two most polarizing figures in American politics today. And if, from a libertarian viewpoint, you could set the table any better, I don't know how you could do that.
Who specifically should not be allowed to own a firearm, and under the Johnson administration, who would be responsible for making that determination?
Well, what I've said is, should we be open to a discussion on keeping firearms out of the hands of the mentally ill? Zach, we should be open to that conversation. But I have to tell you, I have not heard any suggestion anywhere on how that might actually be accomplished. And I'm afraid that that all the suggestions that I hear currently would restrict potentially you or I from owning a firearm, because we're not going to pass the litmus test. And so devil is in the details, but there's nothing that I've heard of suggestion-wise that would work when it comes to keeping firearms out of the hands of the mentally ill. But I think as libertarians, I think it's a real mistake. I think it's a mistake for anybody to say that they wouldn't welcome a discussion on how that might take place or how that might get accomplished. I'm just a complete skeptic on there actually being a way to do that.
How would the global war on terrorism change with Gary Johnson as the commander-in-chief?
Well, that we stop the military interventions, that there is an unintended consequence of having troops on the ground. There's an unintended consequence of dropping bombs. There's an unintended consequence of drone flights that are killing thousands of innocent civilians. And that would stop. Congress needs to weigh in on our military interventions. And that needs to be an open debate and discussion that everybody can monitor, take part in.
Last question. For you, what does the principle of non-aggression boil down to?
Well, so I believe in the non-aggression principle. I think the government, I think there are a couple of things, as an example, within the government that I'm actually working to overturn. The most specific example of government and its egregious use of aggression is the drug war. And there's been no one more outspoken about ending the war on drugs and then, in fact, pardoning those that have been convicted or even serving sentences for victimless, nonviolent crime. The other is the IRS, and I am proposing eliminating the IRS because it wouldn't be needed anymore, because we would eliminate income tax and corporate tax. So I also think that you've got a lot of aggression exercised by the government in jailing people that haven't paid their taxes.
Outstanding. That was Gary Johnson in his own words. Governor, we're not going to take up any more of your time, but I am Zach Foster on behalf of the Libertarian Party of Nevada, and we'd like to thank Governor Gary Johnson very much. Last thing, how can people find more information about you?
Just Google me. Google Gary Johnson, and it's all there. And can't get much simpler than that.
Outstanding. We are signing out.